watching From the Cape with Bass, hosted by Daniel Peterson.
Good day, everybody. Today we're here with great bass player Lee Davids. Lee, can you tell us about your first musical experience?
Sure. Thank you, by the way. Thank you for this opportunity. It's awesome. It's awesome to be here. So thank you for that. My first musical experience. Well, I just remember when we're talking way back now. I was probably around 4 years old already. My parents would go to their friends as one would over weekends and go and visit. And because the kids were all the same age, we would all just tag along and we would play together. And always in the background was their music that was playing. Yeah. And it was always the same music playing. It was Shack Attack, it was Foreplay, it was Basha. It was Sade, Earth, Wind and Fire. So those are fond memories. And my love for jazz specifically came from listening to that when I was an early age already. So yeah, for me, that was really my first, the earliest that I can really remember listening to music. Beyond there, then I started to get a love for gospel music because we always used to play those old Hillsong music in the house as we got older. So I think Hillsong was probably, everybody listened to Hillsong. Yeah. So it's always nostalgic to hear those old songs now. So yeah.
Oh, cool, man. Tell me, why did you choose the bass guitar? What stood out for you from the low end?
Look, in the beginning, I didn't choose the bass guitar. Like a lot of aspiring musicians, everybody wanted to play guitar, So I started out with a small classical guitar that my aunt gave to me. Yeah. And from there, once I turned 21 years old, I took my 21st money and I bought myself an electric guitar.
Cool.
So I bought myself an electric guitar, and then a cousin of mine came over from Australia, and she came to come and record an album here. And she recommended her guitarist as a teacher because I was looking for somebody to get some lessons by. And so I went for some lessons there, and then I took that, and then eventually I ended up going to PE for work. And then I played electric guitar there in the church, and once I got to PE, I felt like, okay, I need something more now. I need to maybe go beyond electric guitar now. And it was actually a decision between bass guitar and the saxophone. I don't know why, but when you hear somebody playing an instrument amazingly, and then you feel, that's what I want to do.
Yeah. I know the feeling.
So I suppose at some point I heard saxophone, a saxophonist playing something, and then so it was between those two, and then I started doing research, and then I saw, wow, but these saxophones are so expensive. And I thought, okay, maybe we should just try the bass guitar for now. Yeah. And I think the transition was a lot easier because I came from a guitar background. The transition was a lot easier, so I was sort of figuring it out on my own. You settle into it, and so my love for bass grew. And just once you get into it, and I started to realize, what impact it has on a band, and and then bass guitar just stuck with me.
Wow, man, interesting. But I'm glad you chose the bass.
Me too.
Because when you play the bass, you can actually sing and talk and play. But with the saxophone, there's no way.
Yeah, I suppose. Although, it's a struggle to talk and play at the same time for a lot of us.
Lee, can you tell me about your musical education? Did you go for lessons? Are you self-taught? Are you still learning? What is the story there?
Definitely still learning.
Okay.
I don't have formal training as such. I didn't go to a college or anything like that. But I did have a few teachers that I went to I mentioned my guitar teacher earlier, a gentleman from Matroosfontein called Angus Davidson.
Okay.
He taught me, I learned a lot from him regarding jazz, harmonies, chords,
Yeah,
those sort of things. And obviously that translated into, I mean, whatever instrument you play, it goes along with you. Then that was for guitar. And then when I went over to bass guitar, I took a couple of lessons from a guy that was on your show, a young man called Sean Johannes.
Okay.
So, yeah, one of the amazing bass players around. And yeah, so I went for a couple of lessons by him also. And, I mean, he is such a great aim to mark to aim at.
Yeah.
That it was just amazing to spend some time with him as well. Wow. So yeah, and then I think in today's day and age, 2021, we can't underestimate what you can learn online.
Yeah.
A lot of people are self-taught nowadays. There's a lot of nonsense out there also on YouTube, but there is also a lot of value that you can find.
Yeah.
So besides those teachers, I've learned a lot on YouTube, online, going through, those videos, sitting back and coming to practice. So there really is, you don't, if you can't afford lessons nowadays anymore, there's a lot of value to be found online. As long as you looking at the right thing and you're going back and applying and you're practicing. So suppose that is my education.
YouTube is your friend.
It is.
Lee, can you tell me about the albums, if you worked on albums, and the band that you're playing for?
So I'm sort of in between churches right now. Most of my playing I've done at churches. When I went to Port Elizabeth, I joined the church band in Port Elizabeth at Word of Faith in Port Elizabeth, and I played with some great musicians there. I played with the keyboardist Finland Petit, who I think he's now in Cape Town, but an amazing keyboard player out there. And then back at home, I've played in churches as well at Every Nation, and then I'm also sort of a part-time member of the band Almost Sunday. Who
I think it was on a Monday that I saw Almost Sunday on the TV.
Yeah, most people see them on the Monday afterwards. So yeah, it was such an amazing group of people as well. And so Lloyd, Haley, and the guys of Almost Sunday, who are amazing, very committed to the cause. So I play a lot to them, and then a band called Triple L, which is mostly weddings. We do wedding gigs.
What does it stand for, Triple L?
Triple L is the three people in the group, which is myself, Lee, Lewatlan, and Leilani. So we're sort of a trio that, so we sort of travel around doing weddings.
Band, Triple D. I'm looking for another 2Ds.
Yeah, no, it's a bit corny, I suppose, but that is what it is. So
it's a three-piece, so bass, drums, and
sometimes bass, drums, violin. Sometimes just guitar, drum, and violin.
Okay.
So
And the Almost Sunday outfit is bass, keyboard.
They are mainly an acoustic setup.
Okay.
So if they do want to sort of add bass, then they'll ask me. They might ask other people as well, but they generally do ask me. And so they are an acoustic guitar, electric guitar, djembe drum, and then now recently they've added keyboard as well. So yeah, awesome group of people.
Wow, man.
And
Oh, that's so cool. Can you tell me about the gear that you have?
Yeah, sure. So this is my Court DLX guitar, 5-string. I've never really played a 4-string, just because I've learned on a 5-string. So I've always just been more comfortable on a 5-string. So that's this amazing tone, and yeah, I just love playing on it. I trust chord. I love chord. My previous bass was also a chord, and just I feel that the quality that they produce is great. Yeah. Then I also have a pedal, a Downtown Express um, pedal that I'm keen to sit with.
Okay.
Just a basic overdrive compressor and an EQ. That
Looks very expensive.
well, we'll see if it if it lives up to its name.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm keen to plug that in
Okay.
and see that go. Well,
Okay.
yeah.
That's interesting. Lee, do you have any advice for young up and coming bass players and musicians out there, please?
Yeah, sure. I think what I can tell bass players or musicians in general, firstly, that as important as it is to learn how to play your instrument, it's also important to learn how to play in a band.
Yeah.
Most musicians are going to be playing in bands. They're not going to be solo artists. Most of us are in bands, and it's important to know your role as a member of that band. That you are not alone in the band.
Yeah.
It's important to know what your fellow musicians, what their roles are and how you fit into that. What is your context
Yeah.
that you fit into? Because at the end of the day, you want your band to sound great,
Yeah.
not you. I mean, you are adding to that sound, which means you have to also think about everything else going on around you.
So where you fit in, and you have to make them sound good, and everybody must sound good.
Yeah, you have a whole frequency range basically that you have to cover as a band, and you cannot be or thinking about what the electric guitar is playing, where the keyboard is playing, what especially for guitar, what the drummer is doing. It's important to be listening to that, not just trying to figure out.
So you're basically saying that it's a constant state of analysis for you as a bass player. You have to listen to everybody. Like you have to find your path. Like
I think so. Well, I think so. It's analysis seems so like you're putting pressure on yourself. I think it's a bit of analysis and a bit of feel that you sort of feel what is sounding right and what is not.
Okay.
I always sort of when I'm playing, I'm always sort of looking to see if the people are dancing. Because if they are dancing, then it feels nice, and if they're not, it might be that somebody's out. So I always look at that. And then another thing that I maybe would share with musicians, especially newer musicians, is to find a way to stay motivated, because it can get very boring.
Yeah.
Especially in the beginning when you're learning an instrument, you have to learn scales, you have to sort of learn this or that theory. It's something that you have to push through. You have to get through that. So try and stay motivated, keep things musical, or try and practice with a purpose, try and achieve something after a session, so that you can feel like, okay, at least it was a bit boring, but at least this is what I achieved. So try and stay motivated. I think with the older, more experienced musicians, even though they might be bored in a practice, they at least know that there's a bigger picture, or they know that it's a necessary step to be taken. Whereas in anything, when you sort of a newbie and you're doing something that's boring, then you feel like, okay, is this it? Is this what it's going to be like? So find ways to stay motivated is another one.
Lee, thank you so much, man, for making time for me, for making time from the Cape with Bass. Godspeed on your journey.
Thank you very much, man, Daniel, and all the best with your movement here that you're starting. I think for you, just to say yes is another thing even that we can learn from your channel, is just to say yes and just to be willing to go out there and to go and do things, and who knows where this channel will end up, where the next step will be. So all the best for you as well.
Thank you, man.
And thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for liking and sharing this video with your fellow bass community. Please follow From the Cape Wood Bass on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you so much.